Hi guys, welcome to my channel, or welcome back. In today's video, I'm going to be doing a little editing tutorial. So I haven't done one of these in a while. The way that I normally edit like my feed pictures is pretty much the same as it's always been, unless there's like a rare picture that kind of like want to do less or more to or whatever, but that video that I have up for that is still pretty much the same. But I recently went on a trip to Europe, and on my stories I was making all of them kind of look like film. A lot of you guys requested this video, so I'm sitting down today to show you exactly how I did that and all the different apps and techniques that I like to do to make my photos look grainy and vintage and basically like they came off of a film camera. Excited to share this with you guys, and let's get into it. So for starters, I'm going to share all of the apps that I like to use for this. The first one being the Teza app. So good for editing. Second is Visco, or VSCO. I'm pretty sure it's called Visco. But yeah, that's a great app as well for editing. And then I like to use Lightroom still, just for like tweaking a few things here or there if you need it. I don't use it in every single one of these iterations of film-like photos, but it is just probably the best photo editing app in general, I would say. So it's good to have. And then lastly is one called Cam. So let's start. Okay, for starters, I'm gonna open the Teza app because it's probably my favorite one for this kind of film-like effect. Okay, so here are some pictures from my trip. So just pick a random one. Let's start with this one of Clayton at the beach. Okay, so there he is. Super cute, and they have so many different edits here, and a bunch of them are really good. I'm gonna go over like my favorites with you guys. So Fresh is a really good one. It looks good on this photo. Vintage, this one seems like a little bit too dark. Vintage 2 is a little bit better. Vintage 3. Some of my favorites are Cocoa. Looks kind of dark on this picture. Goldie is one of my absolute favorites. This one is nice because it has texture and it has the edit, so you can tweak both of those a little bit depending on your photo. They also have one called Film that's really nice, but honestly all of these are so good, and you can kind of just like go through and pick which one speaks to you for certain photos. I think on this photo I liked the way Fresh looked the best. Well, now I'm thinking honestly Film looked really good. Okay, I'm gonna use the Film preset on this one, and then you can go in, and I like to add a little bit of grain, so you can change the size, the roughness, and the amount here. So I usually don't mess with the size or the roughness. I'll just add around like 10 to 15, make it really grainy. And then I feel like this picture is looking a little too cool toned and maybe a little too green toned as well. So you can go to temperature, and then you can make it a little bit warmer this way, and then HSL, go to hue, make it a little bit, that's the wrong way, make it a little bit pinker this way. This is the before, this is the after. So definitely makes it look like film. Super fun. And then like I mentioned, I'm gonna save this. Like I mentioned, Lightroom is really good to have as well, just to tweak a few things here and there, and especially with the film style edits, a lot of the times they can wash out a lot of colors, especially like the orange, and that just makes you look really washed out. So I like to go in on Lightroom and tweak a few things there. So I'm gonna go to the color, and then I'm gonna go to the orange and kind of just like bring back a little bit of the saturation, maybe a little bit of the luminance. And then I feel like this made his skin tone like too yellow, so I'm gonna make it go to the red a little bit. Okay, yeah, so that kind of just brought like a little bit of color back there, and it's just good, a good app for like slight tweaking like that. Or if I wanted to change the light in the photo a little bit. I'd probably never do all of this for a story, but if you were gonna post it or put it in a reel or something, you could do more tweaking. So maybe like the highlights need to come down a little bit, the shadows could come up a little bit, something like that, to just tweak it a little bit more, and then that photo is pretty much good to go. So I'm gonna share some more pictures in the Teza app because it is, like I said, one of my favorite apps for this. So I wanna share a couple more styles of edits in there that I will like to do. Okay, so let's take this picture of me and Blake next. show you guys, like it has different colors and everything, so probably a different edit will look good on this one. So let's go in and see. Like I mentioned, Goldie is one of my favorites, so let's see how that looks on this. Okay, that's cute. I like that one a lot on this. I'll sometimes take the edit on this one down a little bit, maybe to like 40. Looks good to me. And then again, tweaking with the colors, I feel like it's a little bit, this, the Goldie edit can be very green. So if you kind of want to like change the, not the temperature maybe a little bit cooler. Yeah, it gets a little, this edit gets warm and a little bit green. So sometimes depending on the photo, I'll tweak those color aspects again. So maybe a little bit colder, like 4 down on the temperature, and then go back to HSL and do the hue a little bit pinker up to like 9. And then because that one has texture, it already adds some grain. So yeah, that looks cute. I'm gonna put this one in the Lightroom app as well, just to see, like tweaking a little bit of the colors. So this step is pretty much unnecessary, I would say, but if you're like really into the colors and you're really trying to perfect the picture and tweak it a little bit, I do just prefer the Lightroom app for those types of edits, just because I'm really familiar with it and I know how to use it. So I'm gonna make it a little bit pinker actually over here again. And then I feel like maybe the yellow is just a little strong. So I'm gonna bring that down a little bit. The oranges, tweak with them just slightly. That looks cute. Yeah, that looks good to me. So that's a good one. And then I'll do one more picture in the Tezza app so you guys can see. Another one of my favorite edits. So let's go in. Okay, let's go in on this bathing suit picture and do Cocoa on this. Let's see how that looks, because that is one of my favorites. Kind of like mutes the colors, neutralizes a lot. Okay, yeah, that looks cool. Bring that down a little bit to like 39 or so. And then that one doesn't have texture, so I'm gonna add a little bit of grain, 14. That looks good. And that one, I feel like I don't really need to bring into the Lightroom app. It doesn't have like a ton going on color-wise, so I feel like there's not really a need to tweak with it anymore. But that app is just amazing. There's some really good tools in there, really good presets, so you can just like slap them on any photo and they look great. And then the other one, Visco, I'm gonna show you guys a couple pictures from that same album. Okay, so I'm gonna take a couple of photos from Visco and show you guys how I would edit them to look like film from this app. So let's take this picture of wine in Provence. Okay, so this is similar to the Tezza app. It has a ton of presets and there's so many good ones. I feel like the Tezza app in general is more kind of like film feeling, vintagey edits to begin with. So Visco has a lot more presets, I guess, and they're not as tailored to this certain aesthetic, I guess. So you kind of have to hunt more for them. All right, so one that I usually like is M4, I think. Okay, yeah, M4 looks really good. It's very pink and it's kind of cool toned. So I'll usually bring this down quite a bit, maybe to like 7 or so looks good. And then I might make this a little bit warmer. 0.6, add some grain. This is like, doesn't have faces or anything in it, so I feel like it's even harder to get the grain to show up. So I'm gonna do it a little bit stronger. Yeah, like 6.4, that looks good. So there's one preset that I like in the Visco app, but I'm telling you, there's so many and I'm not even familiar with all of them, but you can kind of just like bop around in the app and see what like stands out to you and what appeals to your eye. Okay, let's take another one from here. Let's take this one of me and Clayton on the train. Another one that I really like is somewhere in the P's. It's like alphabetically organized. Okay, so the one that I really like, I believe, is either P4 or P5. They all kind of have this like vintagey feel to them. There's P5, here's P4. Okay, I think it's P5 that I like. So it's very cool toned again. We're gonna bring this down a little bit, maybe to like 8 looks good. And then I'm gonna bring the warmness up a bit because it's very cool toned. Probably bring the pink hue up a little bit too. And then I'm gonna add grain again here, like 4.7 or so, that looks good. Okay, so So that's cute. Those are like the two presets in VSCO that I tend to like for this like filmy like edit. Then I'm gonna show you guys also, I'm also gonna show you guys the app Cam because this is great for adding some like vintage filmy effects as well. So let's just take this picture of me and Clayton actually that I just edited from VSCO. So I don't ever use the presets in Cam. I just like to use the effects. So the dust tool on here is really good. They have scratches, they have rain, snow, dust, like they have all these things that you can add on top. So I'll just show you guys a couple of the variations, but these little like speckles, when you actually take film photos, a lot of the times they will show up with these little like markings and speckles on them like this. So this is perfect. It makes it look super realistic and it just gives like a really nice effect, like these little scratches and stuff that happens on our film camera all the time. So I think it's really cool to kind of mimic that. And I'm liking this one D10, so I'm gonna leave that there. And then something else really fun that you can do on Cam is add these like dates and times and everything that also give this really like vintage filmy effect. So this one is kind of video camera-ish, I guess. And then eventually it will get to these little like analog parts and you can change like where this is in your picture as well, so you can like move it up there. I think it only goes in the 3 places. It doesn't do the top left corner, but it's really cute. You can just like add that little effect and now this looks like just a super cute little film photo. Really easy to use, really fun with those effects. You can just add a little more pizzazz to the photo and yeah. So that's pretty much it. It's really simple for the most part. Like I mentioned, you kind of just have to play around and see like which edit is standing out to you for which photo, and then if you need to tweak it a little bit in those apps, it's really easy to do that. You can add some more effects, add a little extra with the Cam, and I will put a couple of other photos in this video as well that are also edited in that same style, so you guys can see them across the board, kind of, not just those couple of photos that I picked out. It's really fun. It's a great like nostalgic feel on your content or your photos, even if it's just for like personal use and you're not posting them. It just kind of makes them feel more sentimental and nostalgic. So hopefully this was helpful to you guys. If you have any additional questions, you can ask them in the comments and I'll try to get back to you on that. Other than that, have fun with your little filmy, vintage, grainy photos.